This may sound harmless, but doctors found it can quietly speed up memory loss after 60. And what makes it surprising is that many people do it every single morning without thinking. It often happens within the first hour after you wake up, when your brain is most sensitive. You might wake up, reach for your phone, and scroll without even sitting up fully. Or turn on the TV just to ease into the day while your mind stays passive. It feels relaxing, familiar, even comforting in those quiet morning moments. But here is where things become surprising. Your brain is not actually waking up fully. Instead, it stays in a low activity mode that limits stimulation and mental engagement. Your brain needs activation early, like muscles need movement after being still. Without that, neural pathways linked to memory don't get properly stimulated. Over time, this creates a pattern where your brain expects less effort each morning, and that slowly weakens the connections responsible for recall and clarity. You may not notice it at first, but small lapses can begin to appear more often. So what exactly is this habit doing to your brain over time, and can it be reversed? Because the answer might change how you start your mornings from tomorrow. After 60, your brain doesn't recover the same way it once did, even from small daily habits. And this is where a simple routine can suddenly have a much bigger impact than before. Most people don't notice this shift because it happens slowly and quietly over time. You may feel mentally fine, just a little slower or more forgetful on certain days. Maybe you walk into a room and pause, trying to remember why you came there, or struggle briefly to recall a name that used to come instantly to mind. Here is where things start to change in a way many don't expect. Your brain becomes more sensitive to how it is used, especially in the morning. Blood flow patterns shift, and your brain needs stronger signals to fully activate. At the same time, neural flexibility begins to decrease with age. That means your brain adapts more slowly to stimulation and new information. So, when mornings start passively, your brain stays in a lower performance state longer. And this effect can carry through the entire day without you realizing it. So, what exactly happens inside your brain during that first hour after waking? Because this next part reveals why timing matters more than you think. What you do in the first hour after waking can shape how your brain performs all day. This may seem like a small window, but it has a powerful effect on memory and focus. And most people follow the same routine every morning without questioning it. You might stay in bed a little longer, scrolling or watching something quietly, or move slowly through your routine without really engaging your mind. It feels like a gentle start, something your body naturally wants. But here is where things become unexpected for many people. Your brain is actually primed for activation during this first hour. It releases signals that prepare memory, attention, and mental clarity. Think of it like turning on a system that needs a proper startup sequence. If stimulation is low, that system starts slowly and stays underactive, and your brain may not fully reach its optimal performance that day. Over time, repeating this pattern can affect how sharp you feel overall. So, what is the exact mistake that disrupts this critical brain window? Because the answer is simpler than most people expect. The biggest mistake isn't what you eat or how much you sleep, it's how you start your brain. And for many people over 60, this mistake feels completely normal and harmless. It begins the moment you stay passive instead of engaging your mind after waking. You might scroll through your phone, watch TV, or sit quietly without stimulation. It feels like rest, like easing gently into your day without pressure or effort. But here is where things take an unexpected turn. Your brain interprets this passivity as a signal that less activity is required. Instead of activating fully, it settles into a lower level of function. Important networks linked to memory and focus remain understimulated, And this is happening during the most critical activation window of your day. Over time, your brain starts adapting to this reduced level of engagement. It becomes more efficient at doing less, which is not what you want. That's when small memory slips begin to feel more frequent and noticeable. So why does this passive start have such a strong long-term effect? Because the way your brain adapts may surprise you even more. Your brain is constantly adapting, even when you don't notice it happening day to day. And this is where a simple habit can begin to reshape how your memory works. Every morning you stay passive, your brain receives the same repeated signal. It learns that deep thinking and engagement are not immediately necessary. You may feel fine in the moment, nothing seems wrong or different. But here is where things quietly start to shift beneath the surface. Your brain begins trimming connections that are used less frequently. This process is natural, often described as use it or lose it. Neural pathways linked to memory become weaker when not activated regularly. At the same time, passive patterns become stronger and more automatic, so your brain becomes better at doing less instead of staying sharp. And this change doesn't happen overnight, which makes it harder to notice. Weeks turn into months and small changes slowly build up over time. So why do some people stay mentally sharp while others decline faster? Because the difference often lies in how they activate their brain daily. You may have already experienced this, but dismissed it as just a normal part of aging. And that's exactly why these early signs are often overlooked or ignored. It doesn't start with anything dramatic or obvious at first. You might forget where you placed something just a few minutes ago, or pause mid-sentence searching for a word that used to come easily. Sometimes you walk into a room and suddenly can't remember your purpose. Here is where things become more important than they seem. These small moments are often early signals of reduced cognitive activation. Your brain is not engaging as efficiently as it once did, and these lapses tend to appear more often when your mind stays passive. They may feel random, but they often follow patterns in your daily routine, especially how you begin your mornings and activate your thinking. Over time, these small gaps can become more noticeable and frustrating. So how can you tell if your routine is helping or quietly harming your memory? Because the next insight may change how you interpret these signs completely. Your brain actually prefers this habit, and that's what makes it so dangerous over time. It seeks comfort and efficiency, avoiding effort whenever it has the chance. So when you start your day passively, your brain feels like it's conserving energy. You might think you're giving yourself a gentle and stress-free beginning, and in the moment, it truly does feel easier and more relaxing. But here is where things become unexpectedly misleading. Your brain is wired to repeat what feels good, not what keeps it sharp. This creates a habit loop driven by comfort rather than cognitive strength. Over time, your brain starts expecting less stimulation each morning, and anything requiring effort may begin to feel slightly more difficult. That's how simple tasks can slowly start to feel mentally heavier. Not because you've lost ability, but because activation is lower. So the comfort you feel today may come with a hidden long-term cost. And most people never connect this feeling to their daily routine. So what small shift can break this cycle without adding stress to your day? The good news is that this pattern can be changed with one small shift in your morning. And it doesn't require anything complicated or mentally exhausting to begin. What matters most is how you activate your brain in those first few minutes. Instead of staying passive, you gently engage your mind with simple activity. You might sit up, stretch, and begin thinking about your day intentionally. Or ask yourself a small question that requires focus and recall. Here is where things start to work in your favor again. This kind of early stimulation signals your brain to fully activate. Blood flow increases, and memory-related areas begin to engage more quickly. It's like switching your brain from standby mode into full operation, and even a few minutes of this can create a noticeable difference. Over time, your brain begins expecting this higher level of engagement. That helps strengthen the pathways linked to memory and clarity. So what are the best simple activities to activate your brain each morning? Because the next part will give you practical examples you can use immediately. People who stay mentally sharp after 70 often follow very simple daily routines. And what's interesting is that none of these routines start with passive behavior. They begin their mornings by gently challenging their brain in small ways. You might try recalling 3 things you did the day before in detail, or mentally plan your day instead of immediately reacting to distractions. Even reading a few lines and reflecting on them can activate memory pathways. Here is where this becomes more powerful than it seems. These small actions tell your brain that it needs to stay active and alert. That signal helps maintain stronger neural connections over time. It also improves how quickly your brain processes and recalls information. And the key is consistency, not intensity or complexity. Simple daily repetition creates long-term cognitive resilience. This is what separates gradual decline from maintained sharpness. So which of these habits can you realistically start tomorrow morning? Because the final step is making it part of your everyday life. Your brain tomorrow morning will reflect what you choose to do starting today. And the most powerful part is that this change does not require drastic effort. It begins with one simple decision right after you wake up. Instead of staying passive, you choose to activate your mind with intention. You might sit up, take a breath, and ask yourself something meaningful. Or recall a memory, plan your day, or engage with a simple mental task. Here is where everything starts to come together. Your brain responds quickly to how you treat it in those early moments. Even small actions can shift it from passive mode to active clarity. And over time, this builds a stronger and more resilient memory system. You are not just reacting to aging, you are actively shaping your brain. That sense of control is what many people overlook completely. Because the difference between decline and sharpness is often daily behavior. So tomorrow morning, what will be the first thing you choose to do? Because that small choice may define how clearly you think in the years ahead.